Hello, people. Today I have with us the Hexa Gear Governor, Early Governor, Volume 4. And I think that's how it's written on the box. I don't have the box with me. I'll just put it on the screen. So this guy is one of my favorite Hexa Gear Governors. And yeah, okay, he's naked halfway. But, he's a really cool looking regular guy. And that's something, like I told you guys before, that I really like. Just that regular guy kind of look. Yeah, he's built, of course. They're not going to give you some little scrawny dude. But he is just a person, wearing regular old pants and regular old boots. Doing regular things. Like, look at this guy. He's just lighting a cigarette. Really cool stuff. And, I really dig it. But I just wanted to go over some of the features of this Hexa Gear kit because it is one of my personal favorites. And so, first off, I wanted to show you guys the articulation, and I wanted to show you what it comes with. To the articulation on this one, it's going to be a little hard because they do tend to come apart pretty easily. And that is one of the weak points of these smaller 124 scale kits, in particular with Hexa Gear. But we'll go ahead and pick them up, and I will show you what you can do. Oh. Sit down. Okay, so starting with the head, you have a nice easy ball joint. Gives you a nice swivel all the way around. So just snap them in half. That moves forward on a pivot. So you can get him to look down, do that crunch kind of look. The shoulders actually move inside here. This is pretty typical of the Hexa Gear, so you're going to have a pin on the inside of the body and a loop that goes around it. And that enables you to lift this up and down. And then this is actually a joint here, which is not typical of the Hexa Gear governors, but you can get that to move forward a bit so you can actually cross his arms. The shoulder, just a simple pinch point that captures that ball joint. So make sure you don't do any trimming on that one, because this one wears out fast enough that that'll become really loose. And you see, it doesn't take a lot of effort to pull it off. Actually, this time it did, but normally it comes off pretty easily, so you got to watch out for that, actually. The next joint there is that cylinder that you saw, that peg. That one plugs right into the top of the forearm, and so that lets you turn his bicep in any direction he needs to do. And it is quite a bit of range. So with all of these joints here total, you can get quite a lot of motion. Then we get to the restricted elbow. He is kind of a muscle-bound guy, so you only get just a little bit more than a 90 degree and just a straight out. Now these wrist joints, these are a weak point on the Hexa Gear kits. This one doesn't really have too much of a problem because he's not expected to lift up heavy objects, probably just some weapons now and then. They do tend to fall out if you have heavier weaponry, but you can see here, I put a little bit of pressure on there, and it didn't actually come out until, you really force it. This one in particular, it doesn't seem to have that problem, but most of the other Hexa Gear kits do. Then inside here, you see this is a socket joint. This actually goes straight onto the waist joint, just like so. And so you get quite a lot of movement there, but when you have his abdomen section right here, it does limit that a bit. It's not so bad. I put it on upside down. And it does mostly come underneath the inside of his upper torso, but it does give it quite a bit less range if you don't have that. Still, this is sort of realistic for what your character can do. I mean, you don't see someone doing a real bad ab crunch in the middle of a combat scenario. Still, it would be nice to have the most amount of range of motion as you can. You can always hide it with clever camera angles. You know, something like this. You know, you don't have to see that part. That's just me, and that's something that I learned a long time ago. Tricking the camera is always fun. So then beyond that, we're at this section here. So you can see this section here just plugs right into the abdomen joint, and these parts here sandwiched together actually have the ball joint for the leg, and then you run into the other weak point, which is that ball joint squeezed into this one. Same as the shoulder, and it comes off really easily, which I don't believe it should. There's no excuse for that one, I don't think. And then this one is actually pinned between two sandwich parts, and that helps you get that little bit of articulation here, which is quite nice because, you know, you get him to spread his legs out a little bit in a V. It gives you a little bit more options in terms of how you can have him stand up. Now, you do get a lot of range forward, not so much backwards without popping it. It's because you do got the booty, and that does get in the way. Now, the knee is just a simple hinge, so you don't get too much out of that one. I wish they did a little bit more, but for this figure, it's not too terribly important. And you have a captured pin inside the boot, and that goes just like so. Then on the foot, you get these two parts here. This is a stacked wrist pin on this section of his foot, and it just moves up and down. And then, of course, you can turn his foot freely on that barrel, that peg, whichever way you like. So as long as it makes sense, you know, it works. You can do it a little bit more than that even, but, you know, the rolled ankle is never fun for anyone, so you don't want to do that. You go ahead and put these things back together. And we see my buddy is back to normal. Well, sort of. There you go, my guy. You'll notice the hair color on this one is different than this one here. This is the color that it normally comes with. This one was washed in gray, white, and black. So I added a little bit more depth to the color on the gray hair. Normally it's just a solid gray that they did paint onto this face. This one's just Gundam Marker Brown. I don't remember which one. And in addition to what you see here, it actually comes with quite a bit of extra stuff. Now, the one that's interesting to me is because these are Hexa Gears, they actually normally come with a hexagon-shaped port in their body somewhere on the governor, usually on the back. This one doesn't. It just comes with a hole, but that swaps out for the plate that's on him right now, which is just the bare back. So you can actually port him into different things, put him on an action base with that. And of course I got two of them because I got two guys. The other thing that you get with this one is a few different weapons. And I'm not sure. I'll post a picture of what it's supposed to come with, because I don't think I actually have the right weapons in my bag here. I might have borrowed these from a different set. But you do get a sheathed, I do have a sheathed knife that ports into some mystical port that isn't actually on him. I think that one goes for like the Cerberus or the other early governors. You get one of these rifles. See, and this is why I think that I'm using the wrong ones. So maybe I shouldn't show all these. You got this one. I also have that one in silver. And I have this one in silver and brown. I'm thinking I got the wrong set and just threw it in this bag. Or else I colored them, because if I did that, I might have. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I did. That looks copper. I might have just went over this with the silver Sharpie, which would be pretty typical of me, not remembering that I did that. But if that's the case, I mean, it makes sense that I have two sets of them. So you get one each in this brown color, I think, and then I just colored them. But they're rather nice weapons. He does have holding hands as well. There are quite a few of them. This one is an interesting one here with the cigarettes. Oh, and you get the bald head too. Let me show you that one. So before we go to the hands, this is an additional head that you get with this here character. So you can swap that out for the head that he has on now, which I think this one is better. I think it has more personality. And then for hands, you get quite a selection. So you can see he has one grip hand here, just a fist, one open that he can hold a weapon with. You have the cigarette hand and the lighter hand. But there's also, and they went crazy with it, they have the relaxed cigarette hand, which is funny. Then you get the regular claw hand, like I'm gonna get you. And then you get a holding hand. And then you get a cigarette hand for the other side. So if you wanted to smoke with two hands, you can do that, because they're crazy about it apparently. And you've got the lighter for the other side. So you can have either a right or left-handed gentleman here, if you so choose. And I think it's crazy, you know, why would you do that? But that was something I guess they're really proud of. So you got both side lighters and both side cigarettes, at least for the this style where he's already holding it to his lips, not relaxing. So two of the holding that look like he's actually smoking, and one of the relaxed. It's a pretty crazy setup that they did for us with this guy. So this one I actually got on sale at USA Gundam store way back when I first started getting Hexa Gear kits. You know, I was just looking at the different kits and I thought, oh, you know, these are pretty cool. So I went ahead and grabbed them. They were like $12 each. So can't really go wrong with that kind of pricing. Plus, they are scaled well with the hand scale girls. So I wanted something that would go along with them. Later on, I discovered the number 57 kits. And so we had more 124 scale stuff to play with. And I definitely enjoy comparing these guys to the sizes of the number 57 and the Hexa Gear stuff. So it's a lot of fun. And I don't see stopping getting these governors anytime in the near future, because every time they come out with one and I tell myself I'm not going to get one, I end up getting it. They came out with the rooks, and oh man, I need to get those. But overall, I do really like these guys. I think they're really cool, and these ones in particular are some of my favorites of the governors that I have so far. And I by no means have all of them, nor do I have a massive army of them yet, but these two in particular are my personal favorite that I have currently. Once I build the Governor Bump Up Expander, I think I'm going to change minds and think that one's going to be a winner in my book. But these ones are really cool, and I definitely couldn't do it without them. These are the ones that really got me into the 124 scale. I got the Hetzer and the Cerberus first, because I saw those. I saw those come out, And I was like, hey, those look interesting. So I bought those up. These ones at like half the price of the Cerberus and Hetzer, I was like, man, I need to get some more of these Governor guys. And that's what started me on the journey that I am right now with Hexa Gear, where I just built my first vehicle a little while ago. And I'm not addicted, I promise. The kind of things we tell ourselves. Anyways, these guys are definitely a winner in my book. Buy them. One thing I will say is be careful if you put panel liner on these ones. I did want to put a wash on this one here, which is why you see it kind of like darken. I ended up using a paint wash because when I started doing a panel liner on this one, it cracked. And this is something that happens with soft ABS plastic. But you see right here, I did try to put black in there. It immediately found that crack and expanded it. So definitely be careful with that. You're going to want to not break your stuff because these are kind of expensive. They are pricey and they are really cool. So you don't want to go ahead and waste your characters when you're trying to improve them. So if you do want to wash these, be careful with what kind of paint you use. But that is it for my review on these guys. You need them, buy them, especially if you can find them at the price I found them. I think they're worth like $20 if you find them online. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I will see you guys next time, or you'll see me. More than likely, though, you will see my stuff, my little guys. Have a good day. Bye-bye.